It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another trailer breakdown for an upcoming episode of The Walking Dead. This is my teaser trailer breakdown for Season 10, Episode 22, the final bonus episode of Season 10. This one's actually a Negan backstory episode called Here's Negan. There was a comic story with the same name as well, and I would say this is arguably the most anticipated bonus episode from these 6 bonus episodes, but it's obviously up for debate. But we're also gonna take a look at a sneak peek that they released from this episode, so stay tuned, we'll be right back to break it all down. Alright, before we get into this, if you're not a subscriber and enjoy what you see by the end of this video, consider subscribing to join our community, share and smash the like button and press the bell to be notified when we upload on the channel. So with that, let's dive right into it. So first, we're gonna take a look at the teaser that they released. So in this teaser, we have Negan in some sort of a cabin, sitting in front of a fireplace. There's obviously a chair there, and I think he has his leather jacket on the chair. Now what I'm assuming is happening here is Negan is taking some time off by himself. Maybe he even runs away temporarily or something along those lines. But he is by himself here and he's kind of thinking about his past, and I think this is one of the moments that triggers Negan having flashbacks, and it triggers those flashback scenes that are going to tell us the Negan backstory. And then we have this shot of the past Negan saying, little pig, let me in," as he pounds Lucille on the ground. Now, this is very interesting because one, it's obviously one of Negan's infamous lines. He said this back in Season 7, Episode 4, I think, when he came to Alexandria. So that's cool there, but at the same time, there's a deeper meaning behind what he's saying because he's just trying to get himself to open up to himself in a way and allow him to let his memories come back to him, if that makes any sense. So I thought that was a pretty cool double that they did here. And then we have this shot of Negan looking back at his past self, and then we have this shot which is a flashback. We have, of course, Negan and his first wife, Lucille. Now, for non-comic readers, you may be wondering why she's wearing a purple wig. Well, one of the biggest things about the Negan backstory is the big reveal about Negan's wife and the fact that she had cancer. Now, they did mention this back in Season 8, I think, during All Out War, in a conversation between Negan and Father Gabriel, where Negan said his wife died because she was sick. They didn't necessarily mention that she had cancer, or I don't think they mentioned it, but they did say that she was sick. And obviously after reading the Here's Negan comic story, we know that his wife had cancer. Hence why she has a wig on here, because she lost her hair. Now there's something in the sneak peek that also further confirms this, so we'll touch back on that a little bit. And then we have this shot of Negan kissing Lucille. And then we have this pretty interesting shot of Negan and Lucille. They're at a dinner table, and this is obviously during the fall of society. This is not pre-apocalypse, this is during the fall, I believe. But Negan says, "How's your dinner?" And then Lucille says, "If I knew that dog food tasted like this, I would have eaten that shit all along." Which is pretty funny. It's a little bit of humor. We didn't really see this side of Lucille in the comics. She didn't really have any kind of humorous lines. She was very strict and I would say angry all the time in the comic book, and she definitely had a reason to be. But in the show, it looks like they're going a slightly different route. And then Negan cracks a smile, so does Lucille, because of what Lucille just said, so that's pretty awesome. And then there's a few more shots of Negan and Lucille having a laugh together, so it's a pretty cool scene between them. And then we have this shot of someone who I'm assuming is Negan. I'm actually 100% this is Negan because we do see him in the next shot, but he is putting barbed wires around the bat, and this in a way is the birth of Lucille, the bat. So that's pretty awesome. Now, one thing I do want to mention for comic readers is that Negan is wearing the heavy duty gloves, just like the ones that he was wearing in Here's Negan, where he was basically putting barbed wires around the bat in front of a pit fire. So similar to a scene that we are seeing here. And then we have this shot which follows that, which is obviously Negan putting the barbed wires around Lucille, the bat. And then we have this pretty awesome shot of Negan. He's talking to someone. I think he's probably talking to the person that we actually see in the sneak peek. I'll talk a little bit about that when we switch over to the sneak peek. But he says, I'm starting to think that I am capable of damn near anything. So that's pretty awesome and cool to think about because it's true. We saw what Negan was capable of. We saw how twisted and dark he could get. So I think that this is like the birth or the seeds that were planted in his mind in a way for him to be able to do the gruesome things that he ended up doing. And I'm assuming he is telling this to the guy right before he tortures and most likely kills him with most likely Lucille. We see a little bit of that in this teaser as well, which I'm gonna mention. Then we have this shot of Negan going into some sort of a bar. It's the exact same location that we see in the sneak peek actually. So I'm gonna kind of refer back to that in a little bit as well. But he's pointing his gun at someone, and then as he approaches them, he puts the gun away, takes Lucille out, and smashes someone in the head or face. I'm assuming again, he's brutally beating and killing or murdering in a way the guy that was in the sneak peek. And I think he may have had a reason to do this. Not saying that he should have killed the guy, I'm just saying that there might have been a reason why he had that much anger in him to do what he's doing here. So he smashes the guy's face in, and that's pretty much it. That's the end of this teaser. So now we're gonna take a look at the sneak peek that they released. We saw parts of the sneak peek earlier. That sneak peek was actually a little bit different because it started off with Negan digging the ground in current timeline, finding Lucille, and then getting a flashback of this moment right here, which is actually 12 years prior to where we are right now. But this sneak peek actually begins with the moment that the flashback happens. And I'm assuming this might not be the first flashback we see, but I could obviously be wrong. But we have someone approaching. He's wearing some sort of a motorcycle club vest. I could be wrong, but that's what this looks like. And it appears to be the exact same bar that we just saw Negan walking into. So that could possibly be the same place. Well, one thing I did notice that was interesting was that there is a bat on the table. So that could possibly be the bat that Negan takes and puts barbed wires around it. Hence the birth of Lucille. I could be wrong, but this could be the exact same bat. But then he approaches this guy with the sack on his head. He takes the sack off and it's none other than Negan. So Negan was captured, or he was being held prisoner by this guy. He says, "You gotta let me go." And then we have the guy going to the table. He opens up this cooler, which actually has some medicine in it. And it's obviously medicine for Negan's wife, Lucille, who has cancer. Negan actually says, "My wife," and then he says she has cancer, she needs that, we need to keep it safe. And the other guy is kind of like staring at something. I don't know what he's staring at, but he's looking at something. Now, I think it's extremely likely that this guy could be leading a group of people that would later become the saviors. Before that happens, I think Negan is gonna take control over that group and lead them, and then they're gonna be called the saviors. This is obviously if they decide to follow the comic storyline. Here's Negan to an extent. And then Negan says, "I told you, keeping me here, it kills me and her." And that obviously hits very deep. Now, one thing I did kind of notice is that there is someone in the background. So there's a few people there. So it's not like this guy's the only guy. There's like at least 3 people there. So that's extremely interesting. One other thing I did want to mention is that what we could possibly see is Negan actually steal this medicine from these people. If he doesn't steal it from them, maybe they do realize that he has this and that's why they capture him. So that's also possible. But then as Negan is pleading for mercy, basically saying please, the guy shushes him, and then he says, "Hey, I know you're dead, I know, and I told you my heart, it goes out to you." And then we begin to see Negan shedding a tear or two. So I'm assuming this is going to be a very emotional scene, or it's going to be the start of a very emotional scene. But then the guy says, "I can't imagine what you must be going through right now." And then he goes to the cooler, grabs the medicine, and says, just wondering if she's ever gonna get it. So basically rubbing it in his face and trying to get him to flip out on him, maybe as an excuse to kill him or something. And that's pretty much it. That's where the sneak peek ends, with Negan looking at the medicine in the guy's hand and feeling, I would say, hopeless at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how this leads to the other scene with Negan entering the bar with a gun, putting it away, and then taking the bat out and then beating the crap out of someone. I'm assuming that the person he's beating to death is actually this guy right here, or one of these guys' men. But I could obviously be wrong about that. But that's pretty much it. That's everything that they released for this episode. Again, probably the most anticipated bonus episode and possibly one of the best bonus episodes for season 10. But we're obviously gonna have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to share and smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to join our community and press the bell to be notified when we upload. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.